we go.
Which is just Katie right now. Hi, Katie.
All right, we are live on YouTube. We are live on Twitch. Cool. All right, shall we take it from the top, or does anybody need to kind of look over? Oh, we should probably find our spots, because... oh, and who wants to be narrator again? That's the
I
only
can do
other...
that again.
All right, we need the narrator, and then we do need one Carsville, or 3 Carsville lines.
I'll do the Carsville.
You'll do Carsville? Great.
Yeah. We'll keep everybody else switching through Bemis.
So who's going to have what numbers?
Well, why don't we... On my screen, I've got Mel, then Kristen, and then... fuck, I'm so sorry. Josh. I forgot your name. Josh. It was Josh. Haha.
Nailed it.
Your Discord name is a different name, and I got confused.
This is my last name.
Aha. Okay. So Mel take 1 and 2, Kristen take 3 and 4, Josh take 5 and 6.
5 and 6. Okay.
Cool.
Word.
Dan, I'm gonna leave that completely at your discretion. Like, if you think you want to let Mel do a handful of lines and then just keep Kristen on her toes and say, Kristen, you're up. Like, I'm totally leaving it up to you. How you want to, like, distribute when you roll the dice.
I'm going to make it sort of like an event of rolling the dice. So I'll just interrupt after a line and roll the die.
I like it. I like it.
Love it.
All right. Stand by, going down to black, bringing in the intro, and here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
You're traveling through another dimension, a dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into the wondrous land whose boundaries are that of the imagination. That's a signpost up ahead. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone. We find our protagonist, Mr. Henry Bemis, unconscious but uninjured following a devastating explosion.
Yeah. What? What? H bomb? Oh, thank God!
Dice. 6. Doesn't change.
They're all dead. They must be. Everybody's dead. Except me. I'm all right. But why? Why am I all right? I was right in the middle of... the vault. I was down in the vault. That's why I'm alive.
Dice. 1. Mel.
The thing about it is, though, I'm not at all sure I want to be alive. back in 5 minutes.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Interstate Banking Association, I can only tell you that an adherence to duty, a constant remembrance that a bank, like a political office, is a public trust, and a sense of loyalty and devotion to duty is what makes a bank great. These things are of the essence. These things are basic above all things. Just the qualities I've mentioned today.
Mr. Carsville? His voice notes.
That's my speech for the Thursday night banquet, Miss Jackson. Would you type that up in triplicate for me? Would you type that up in triplicate for me? Would you type that up in triplicate for me? Would you type that up in triplicate for me?
4.
That was terrible timing, and that was completely on me. I apologize.
Kristen.
No, I was waiting for the sound. Sorry. Helen? Helen, where are you? Oh God. Oh God. Maybe I can pick up a new watch. Maybe I can find a jewelry store. I won't starve to death anyway. Lots of food. It'll last for years. For years and years. All the food I can eat. All the food and then some. But for now, I need some rest.
I rolled a 4 and a 3, so it stays with you, Kristen.
Alrighty. The worst thing is being alone. This is the way it's going to be? I mean, will it just be here on a box, eating, sleeping, and reading the same half of a newspaper over and over again? No, there must be something more. The places? Alright. Wait. How on earth did you survive?
1.
Stand by. Apologies, one of my effects is not working. I must have exported it wrong. Let's pick it up from the defeated groan, please.
What's this now? Sporting goods? That means... If it just weren't for the loneliness, for the sameness, if there was just something to do, just something to do. I'm sure I could be forgiven for this. This way things are... Excited. How could it be possible? Is it a mirage? Oh no, thank God it survived! The public library survived!
3.
And Q.
Collected works of Shakespeare? The completed works of Dickens? The collected plays of G.B. Shaw? Poems of Browning? Shelley? Keats? Great dramas of the world?
6.
Books! All the books I need! All the books I want! And this will be the stack for January, and then February, March, April, May, this year, and then next year, year after that.
4.
And the best part, the very best part, there's time now. There's all the time I need. All the time I want. There's enough time at last. No. No! No!
2.
It isn't fair! Oop. No! No!
It isn't fair! It isn't fair at all! It's time now. There was all the time I needed. It's not fair!
Narrator.
The best laid plans of mice and men, and Henry Bemis. The small man in the glasses who wanted nothing more but time. Nothing but a moment out of the eons of moments. Nothing but an instant out of an eternity. Henry Bemis, now just a part of the smashed landscape. Just a piece of rubble. Just a fragment of what a man deemed himself to be. Henry Bemis is in the Twilight Zone.
Ooh, that was a tricky one.
How are you feeling, Bryan?
Oh, I think I just had an anxiety attack. That's how I'm feeling. I apologize. That wasn't
You
bad
did really
though.
great, though.
That wasn't bad. There was only two screw ups, and one of them it was a pre-production error. So I'm gonna go ahead and forgive myself for that. But that was fun. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Let's not do that again for a while.
I want your sound effects library because I loved every single cue you played.
I don't even have like. Here's the bad part. I don't have it even organized anymore. It's just like a hot shitty mess of just like
Yeah, that's fine.
searching and dogpiling stuff. So that's yeah.
I'll tell you what. I have this hard drive that has my whole library on it, and the next time I visit, we're trading.
No, don't keep that on an external drive. I'm terrified of that. Put it in the cloud. Put it in the cloud.
I have 3 backups of my library.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've got everything on a personal hard drive, on a hard drive I stash at work where I use the stuff, and then all up in the cloud too. Because I can't bear losing. After the one time, Josh, you may remember this, that Dan Jimerson decided my laptop needed a sip of Mountain Dew and I lost everything. Not doing that again.
I don't know if I remember that.
I don't remember if you were there or not, but
Was,
he
was
definitely
it a purposeful step?
It's Dan Jimerson. What do you think?
Could have been.
Yeah. All right, cool. Do we have any viewers? We do not.
We do not.
We do not. That's fine. This is just for us anyways. All right, so, Josh, I know you came prepared with homework. I just wanted to talk. I know, like, we got theater people in the house, and we probably all have our favorite performances and stuff, but I specifically wanted to, like, talk to you guys about, like, voice acting. Has anyone ever seen the movie Comic Book the Movie? It's like a fake documentary hosted by Mark Hamill, and it's just got, like, Brian Michael Bendis, Kevin Smith, and a ton of other, like, comic book people, and he plays, like, a super fan who's trying to stop the gritty Hollywood reboot of one of his favorite golden era comic book characters. So, but, like, it's all voice cast. So, like, you got the guy who plays Winnie the Pooh, you got Tom Kenny, you got, was John Lovitz in it? I forget. It's just every name, every prestigious name in the voice acting community showed up in it. So I would definitely recommend watching that movie if I ever get a chance. It's funny as hell. It's kind of like on par with like a Best in Show almost. Maybe not quite as good.
Ooh.
That's a pretty bold statement.
It's a pretty high standard there, but
yeah. But it's for fans of RIYL, if you will. What do you guys like dig on? I mean, are you anyone else like obsessed with cartoons as much as I am?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
Any favorites from childhood that are like you go back to now and like they hold up a whole hell of a lot better? I'm gonna go ahead and put one out there. Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Wait, the real Ghostbusters, or
Well, like the cartoon Ghostbusters, like the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Because that
real
ended up
Ghostbusters.
making a much better TV show than it had any right to be.
I recently rewatched the Secret of Nim because my girlfriend had never seen
Ooh.
that, and
So good.
that has a lot of good voice actors in it. A lot that I probably couldn't mention by name, except for Dom DeLuise playing Jeremy. I don't know. He's a raven or a crow. He's a crow, right?
Crow.
I think he's a crow.
He's a crow.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, but it's just like a really good voice cast all around, and just like a good cartoon movie that holds up really well.
Dude,
with,
those Don Bluths are so good.
Yeah, I was gonna say Don Bluth is just like he was on a whole other level.
Mhm.
I watched those religiously when I was a kid. Secret of Nim, Troll in Central Park.
Troll in Central Park. Yep.
All Dogs Go to Heaven. Yep.
All Dogs Go to
Yep.
Heaven.
So good.
All Dogs Go to
was
Heaven.
Land
Left
Before Time
Scars.
a Bluth?
Yeah.
Lamb, yes, absolutely was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thumbelina was also really good.
Oh yeah.
Fern Gully.
Gully.
Not the
Fern Gully.
That was
Oh my
Bluth?
god,
Yeah.
Oh man.
that movie
That was-
messed me up.
They all mess you up. Every single Don movie.
I know,
Don Bluth
every
movie
single
leaves
one of
a
them.
weird scar. Because like I was
Yeah, it does.
terrified of like,
Anastasia was so good.
yeah.
Oh
I
my
feel like
God.
Fifo Goes West.
Bible Goes West.
Bible goes. Oh my god, American Tail. Oh god,
Tail.
yes.
Yeah.
I know it's unpopular opinion, but I like Five Goes West better than American Tail.
Oh, same. Way better.
I think
not a popular
that All Dogs Go to Heaven like permanently ingrained like my like for like dark things, and like when Charlie has like the dream sequence and the devil's like out in front of over the junkyard and going like "Brrr," and I was
No.
like a little kid going like yes.
I still have like flashbacks to that. That gave me nightmares. You mean when he's like way off in the distance and like the
Yes.
angel flies in and just like
Yeah, and
obliterates
breaks it.
him?
Yeah,
What the
Yep.
fuck?
it's awesome.
Yeah, that movie messed me up pretty bad. That left real scars. And they're just like, okay,
Fern
so
Gully also fucked me up. Oh
why
my god.
Fern Gully though? Because of the smog monster?
Yeah, like something about Tim Curry's voice just like absolutely wrecked me as a child, and I don't know what it is. And like anything that he was in, like even The Worst Witch and stuff like that, like something about his voice is just like nightmare fuel for small Kristen.
Tim Curry sounds like he's chugging a jar of jelly throughout that entire voice read for Fern.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, I remember there was an ad or like a trailer for Fern Gully on another one of the movies my sister and I watched, but I think I've only seen Fern Gully like once.
Oh man, we watched it so many times.
You mean Avatar? You mean Dances with Wolves?
Yeah, exactly.
You mean the most tired trope in film history?
Yep.
Fern Gully did it best.
But Bryan, you prompted of any particular voice actors that stuck out to us, and I was telling Bryan before everybody else got on here that I recently legally procured a bunch of early PlayStation games, and I just before we started fired up Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, and a voice came up really early in the game that was done by Tony J. That I was like, Tony J, who you might recognize from lots and lots of Disney stuff for sure, in which he plays the bad guy from The Hunchback of Notre Dame, for one. And the one that I was most familiar with, that Bryan pointed out, that I wouldn't have been able to put my finger on without his help, was Megabyte from the TV show Reboot, which was a show that was a favorite of mine. And so, yeah, Tony J, he's got like this really gravelly, low baritone, but it's just like, I was like, I wish I could sound like that. I absolutely could never if I tried, but
like movie guy quality. But wait a second, I gotta back up because I think when I misspoke the first time and I said Megatron, I actually think I'm right because didn't he play Megatron in Beast Wars?
He may have. Let's look. I think I have his. I have his IMDb
Time to
open
Google.
right now, so.
That's what happens when you name a different character the same name as the major character from the previous iteration of the series.
I don't think so. He's in Beauty and the Beast as something. So because that just came up when I searched for Beast. Huh. But yeah, he does a lot of stuff. He was in All Dogs Go to Heaven too, evidently.
Yeah,
he was a Yeti in Captain Planet.
No shit. It's really fun to me to watch like the legacy careers, like where they came from and all of the pedigree that they have and everything that they've done. Because like most of the time they started at like being a shitty Three Musketeers TV commercial or something like that. For some reason it's always Three Musketeers. I don't know why.
Oh man, I mean, you want to talk about like commercial voices that went on to be just everything else? Fucking J.K. Simmons was the yellow peanut. And like, the yellow M&M, and he like still does it just because he loves the character.
For the longest time, I did not realize that was J.K. Simmons. I thought it was the dude from Coach, that TV show Coach, Terry Bradshaw, right?
Yeah.
Terry Bradshaw.
Sorry, and I referenced him from that, not Terry Bradshaw. What's his name?
You're talking about doesn't he do the voice of Patrick?
That's whoever it is. That's who I thought was the yellow M&M for the longest time. He kind of looks like Terry Bradshaw.
He does look like Terry Bradshaw, yeah. I don't think Terry
David
Bradshaw
Kay is the voice actor of Megatron and Beast Wars.
Oh, my bad.
I
mean, it's kind of close, right? It's sonically.
The names I want to throw out are Jennifer Hale. She's like one of my all-time favorites. I first heard her as Black Cat in Spider-Man the Animated Series when we were kids, but like the main thing that I love her for now is Basta LaShawn from Knights of the Old Republic and FemShep in Mass Effect. She's just like fucking prolific, and she's awesome. So listen to go watch anything that Jennifer Hale has done. Also from the same series, like this, not because he's done a lot or that, like, I mean, he probably has, but I just only know him from two things. Raphael Sparge was Carthonasi in Knights of the Old Republic, and in terms of like the Mass Effect fan, most people hate Caden Malenko, and I never understood why, because it's the same voice actor as Carth, and I just loved Karth so much that love branched over to this completely different character. So every time I run through those games, it's like, yeah, no, Caden is with me as long as I can keep Caden with me because I love the voice acting that guy does.
I'm a big fan of this like kind of little I want to call it like almost a fraternity of Troy Baker, Nolan North, James Arnold Taylor, and those guys are just like that right now. Even though there are arguably more important legends that have been around for a lot longer, those guys are kind of the core of what we're like loving nowadays. Like Nolan North, pick a thing and throw a stone at it, and he's got a voice part in it. Like,
yeah, he's done everything.
James Arnold Taylor being like the current Obi-Wan Kenobi, and like every other thing under the sun. And then there's Troy Baker, who everyone gives him crap because he gets accused of trying to mimic Mark Hamill's Joker. Homeboy can do Joker and Batman. Who else has ever done that?
Exactly.
And like,
he's awesome.
I want him to tribute Mark Hamill. That's the best version of the Joker.
He and Nolan North were both on my list here. And I had a lot of fun. They had a YouTube channel together for a while that Troy left a couple months ago, where they just like it kept going just with Nolan, and he has like other voice actors on there now. So he'll have one of my other favorites on there, John DiMaggio, otherwise known as Bender Bending Rodriguez, and
another
Jake the dog,
or Jake the dog.
Phoenix. Yeah,
and King Zog most recently.
But he's also just like somebody who seems like they're effortlessly funny. Like if you watch like interviews with him where he could just like talk for 1,000 hours, and I'd probably just be like, John, just tell another one, please.
I mean,
my favorite like story of him is Gears of War because he plays Marcus Phoenix, and in the most, is it 4 or 5? I forget, but there's this whole scene where like the new Gears meet up with an old man, Marcus Phoenix, on his like farm, and they get attacked and they're running through, and there's this line where like, a storm comes through and the aliens are attacking and they tear apart his like tomato plants, and Marcus just like from across the field goes, "My fucking tomatoes!" and and that was apparently ad-libbed in the studio by John DiMaggio, and the team just loved it so much they put it in the game.
Wait! My cabbages!
Yeah, exactly.
I think I have a favorite Gears of War line from him also. That I don't know that it was ad-libbed, but it was like they were talking in Gears of War about like they're having a lot of enemies headed their way, and that's a shitload of enemies, and his response was more like 10 shitloads. And I fucking died laughing. I was just like, sure, he's treating it like shitload is an actual unit of measurement. And he's like, no, there's 10 of them.
I mean, it could be in that world, who knows?
60 bushels is a shitload.
Is that the empirical or metric system?
It's got to be empirical. It's not based on 10.
American units.
Who else is they gonna to raise a flag on? Oh, Dan, you're gonna join me on this one. But one of the most important people in voice acting nowadays, Rob Paulson.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, Mel, I feel like you might have something to say on this.
Animaniacs, just Animaniacs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was gonna reference Jess Harnell too, as far as like dudes who are just like effortlessly nice and cool, and even though he exudes kind of like sorry Jess, a douchey aesthetic, he's like super nice. Like what's the Dan, what was that show we saw at Comic-Con a couple years ago, Talking Tunes?
Yeah,
Talking Tunes. Is that still going? Obviously not lately, but that's still around.
Well, he's
right?
been podcasting still. I think he's been running it mostly as a podcast through the pandemic. I got to take a seminar with him online 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Really?
It was so much fun. It was just like 90 minutes of him talking about his career and like how he got started and how ways in which to like, how to break into voiceover and how that's changed over the many years that he's been doing this job. Things that like I knew him because of Ninja Turtles, and then obviously like a million other things like Animaniacs, and he did some stuff with Disney before. Like he was in Darkwing Duck. He did a whole bunch of those like the Lunchbox shows that they did. But I did not know that he got started on Johnny Quest.
Oh my god.
I actually learned that a little while ago myself.
And I don't remember the name of the character now, but he like in his talk he was like, I don't regret doing it now, but I would not do that today. If somebody came to me and asked me to do that character again, I would not do it because there's more than enough people out there who have the experience. And Haji, that's it. Yeah, he voiced Haji in Johnny Quest like many years ago. It was one of his first roles, and he's like, I would never do that again. There are people who can do it and who should do it, and I'm not the person to do those kinds of roles anymore. But he said in the things like, I don't regret doing it. I needed to get into the business, and that was a way that I was able to do it, but I would not do it again today. And it's like, that's kind of really cool to hear somebody say as a part of a seminar where he's like teaching people what to do in the business.
Yeah. That dude is so relentlessly nice. I met him at Comic-Con 4 or 5 years ago or something like that. I got lucky enough to do like a backstage pundit interview with half the cast of the 2012 CG Ninja Turtle show. So it was Paulson and then Hun Lee and right? Was it Hun Lee?
Who did Splinter then?
No, it wasn't Hun Lee. It was oh crap. I forget his name. I gotta look it up because I can't remember anything anymore. He did who was the voice of Splinter?
Hun
Lee.
Lee.
Hun Lee. Alright, my bad. So yeah, Hun Lee was there, Paulson was there, I don't think Nolan was not there, Sean Astin was not there. And then Eric Bauza was there. And I got... Oh no, was it Kevin Michael Richardson? Damn it, I'm gonna brain fart. I think it was Bauza and Hun Lee, and I got him to trade roles. So I got Splinter to do Shredder voices and Shredder to do Splinter voices as a joke. And then Seth Green showed up, and Seth Green comes up to here on me. It's not even a joke. Like, he came up, and I thought there was like somebody's kid had come to the table. Sorry, and like Rob Paulson turned around and like hugged him and like picked him up off the ground, and it was pretty seamless. So that made my day. Shoot, what else was I gonna go after this? I had something in the back of my brain and I got distracted.
So I'm a big McCracken fan. And he had a show on Disney Plus that was not well advertised, called Wander Over Yonder. And
I've heard good things about that.
Oh, the show itself is just brilliant. Like, the writing is amazing, but they got the two most perfect voices. It's the two main characters are Jack McBrayer and April Winchell. And awesome. Jack McBrayer does the whole folksy thing, and April Winchell is that tough, badass bitch and it's perfect.
I'm not aware of it. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
I didn't watch a lot of it, but I did watch some of it, and it was a fun. That was I'm trying to remember what the generation of Disney XD shows that was, but that was sort of like a little bit before Gravity Falls, right?
Yeah, a little bit. And it was like it changed time slots every 3 weeks or something. It was It was so.
They did that to Steven Universe too.
Yeah, they've done that to American animation.
They had a third season for Wander, and Disney canned it.
That sucks.
Yeah. No, it was a really great show and very underappreciated.
Hmm.
I'm trying to find the example of one of my favorite lines, but sorry, Dan, go ahead.
I would be remiss if we got through this entire conversation without naming the voices of my superhero childhood, which are Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, and Christopher Daniel Barnes.
Oh, we were
animated Spider-Man.
Yeah, we were definitely building there. Because, like, all right, they are the quintessential voice actors, right? No one's had such an impact. I would argue that Mark Hamill's voice acting career is far more important than his role as Luke Skywalker.
Oh, easily.
Like, that dude, his commitment is immeasurable. And I will never be able to read a Batman anything without hearing his voice in my head. Same thing with Conroy.
Yeah. I'll say actually, like, I think Mark Hamill was part of the reason why I got more into anime. Just knowing that he was doing some of the dubs for like the Studio Ghibli films. It's like, oh, I gotta check that out because I love Mark Hamill, I love Luke Skywalker, I love Joker. Like, I gotta get more of him. And that's like, how many times does a actor actually? I mean, obviously people will go see things because an actor is in it, but it's almost, I think it's slimmer when you're like, oh, I recognize this voice, and that character, that voice actor is the one that pulled me into actually watching the show.
If you guys want to, and you can pull something up, throw it into the Discord, like a link to an example of a great performance, or your favorite, or however you want to frame it. I'm going to throw in here, does anybody remember Charles Napier? Charles Napier was the voice of the sheriff on Squidbillies. He's like the quintessential Southern cop voice. I think he was also a cop in a James Bond movie, right? Like Live and Let Die? Maybe I'm wrong. No, maybe I'm wrong.
Oh!
I might be wrong. Either way, you know the voice when you hear it. You might not know the face or the name. But I want to go ahead and cite one of the best shows that was way ahead of its time. You may be familiar with it. It's called The Critic. And in The Critic, there is one moment that never fails to put me into tears just because of the timing and execution. And, well, let's have a listen right here.
Best charity is always anonymous.
What about that?
All hail Duke. Duke is life. All hail Duke. Duke is life. All Pigeons seem to like the sound of my...
That destroys me every single time.
What a great show.
He nailed it. Yeah, except for John Lovitz as a POS, but hey, whatever. Is he? Kind of. He's had his moments. He's just kind of like a old prick these days. But yeah, Charles Napier, rest in peace. We lost him 2018, 2017, or something like that. I forget.
He does have a really awesome voice.
Yeah, it really does. Like he could sell me a whole lot of coffee, I think. Good Folgers. I wish I could break into voice acting. I always thought that would be a fascinating thing. I don't think I'm necessarily good enough to do it, but I always thought it would be really interesting and fun. It's always just had my attention. Probably just because I grew up on cartoons like everybody else.
Right. You mentioned briefly before the person who did the voice of Winnie the Pooh. His name's Jim Cummings.
Thank you.
And which I think Winnie the Pooh is great. Great voice, and he also does the voice of Tigger. But I like his range in that he also does, and this voice is near identical to each other. Is that he's the voice of Pete, as in Goofy's foil, and the head guard in Aladdin, which is like so far off from Winnie the Pooh that it's like it's hard to like even imagine that it could come out of the same person.
His entire catalog is like one of the most diverse things you may ever see in Hollywood.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah. He was also the voice of Robotnik in Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Well, there you go.
Going back to the McCracken, Keith Ferguson does the voice of Blue in Foster's Home and Lord Hader in Wander. And there's I mean, you go from this little ghost dude to this Skeletor wannabe, and yeah, they're The leap is just like no way.
All right, I got an example from Josh, but before I bring that up, we would be remiss to not mention in spirit Barry's favorite, who is Frank Welker, who, I mean, duh.
Every animal you've seen for the last 40 years.
Yeah, that too.
It was like D. Bradley Baker.
Yeah.
It's on like every show, and you're like, oh, what did he do? It's like Bear.
Well, also, like, D. Bradley Baker is the voice of every single clone in Star Wars. So, I guess technically he has an acting credit of like 3,000.
Jesus.
Which, okay, so I started watching Bad Batch. I haven't really had the mentality or the time to, like, sit and focus and pay attention to it, but, like, you know, when they did Clone Wars, it was a couple of them here and there kind of thing. They were always there, but there was only ever really a couple doing a conversation. Bad Batch is 5 dudes, all played by one dude, having a 5-way conversation with himself indefinitely. Like, that's talent.
Damn.
That's talent.
What do they do? They give him like one guy's got like a scar on his eye, and then like one guy's got like a bowl cut, and then
Yeah,
like
one guy's like kind of robot-y.
Yeah.
Josh, you sent me, it's like 7 minutes long. What should I...
Yeah, you probably don't got to do the whole thing, but it's Nolan North and Troy Baker reading "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" as Christopher Walken and Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, sweet Christ! All right, hang on. Maybe we do watch the whole thing.
Lord.
Let's see this guy's story.
Middle of the day, you may not even be tired. You may not even think you need to sleep. You lay down for a second, and there it is.
When out on the lawn, there arose such a cloud I sprang from my bed. See what was the matter, way to the window, flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, threw open the sash.
Sash is a thing you can wear as a neck adornment. You can just toss it over one shoulder or the other. It doesn't really matter. Whatever looks best for you.
The moon on the breast, and falling snow, gave the luster of midday. Objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh. A tenny reindeer.
From a physics standpoint, you couldn't pull a sleigh which is heavy, made of iron. Tiny reindeer couldn't fly, but they also couldn't pull a sleigh.
The subtleties. It's the subtleties that are the most impressive part. Like, everyone can do like the cheesy Walken voice, but he's got like the angry Walken voice, and that's a whole nother beast.
Yeah, when he brings it down, it's great.
Yeah. The first time I learned about like that, because I never really noticed the subtleties of Christopher Walken before. Dan, you remember Mitch from college and his Christopher Walken impression. His range was impressive.
Amazing.
We ended up producing like 70 episodes of this segment in a variety show called This Week in Walken's World that went everything from like fake advice from a Christopher Walken imitator to a Quantum Leap reboot because we decided to just go way off script. That was the finale of the show, as we accidentally sent Christopher Walken back to the dawn of time. Just realized how absurd it is to say that phrase out loud. Hey, speaking of college too, there's one.
Keep me down for it.
It's true. There's one more important name that we should bring up in the voice acting world, and that's Andrea Romano.
Yeah.
Who is a Fredonia alum.
Wow.
I always thought that was really great, and it needs to get more attention. And I don't know why more people don't talk about it. I would have put a statue up of her on that campus, because that's amazing. Because we wouldn't have Batman, Justice League, anything from Warner Brothers pretty much in the last 30 years if it wasn't for her. Tiny Toons, Animaniacs, all of it. All of it.
Yeah.
I just think that's awesome. Big fan of her.
She's the casting director for many of those things, and the voicing. Like, the casting director and the voice acting director. So she would be in the studio with them,
Wow.
like coaching throughout all the rehearsals and stuff. We Bryan and I have been very lucky among some of our other friends to see a ton of panels at New York Comic Con with the Batman the Animated Series cast and Batman Beyond cast, and she's done many of those to like talk about that whole process and how it was different. Like they would always bring up how like for nearly all of their episodes they were in the studio together so they could all react off of one another, where most animation was doing things remote, not necessarily remotely, but like one person in the studio at a time, and then they would have to be acting off of a recording. But there's some really great behind the scenes stuff that you could see of Batman the Animated Series where everybody is just on stools, working with each other, acting off of each other, and everyone's like sitting down, and then in the corners Mark Hamill's going absolutely batshit.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up because like it was largely thanks to her that they had that format, because she wanted to make sure it was more like an old-time serial radio show, being that it was basically a stage show, and the whole thing was kind of like a period piece set in like a 1930s, 40s-esque Art Deco with Batman. So she really wanted them to be in the same room to kind of get that natural vintage vibe thing going on, and that's been her thing ever since, right? Like she never...
That's so cool.
Until she retired, at least, she always was like, I want everyone in the same room as much as possible.
Yeah. We have Narcloft in the chat. It says it's Pat from Fredonia wanted to say hi.
Oh shit, Pat! I wasn't even looking because no one ever watches this. Hey, Pat. Pat did the How to Survive a Zombie Apocalypse, which I helped do the sound for.
Awesome.
Hi to Bryan.
Welcome to the chat, Pat.
Yes, thanks for joining, Pat. Actually,
Hey, buddy.
How do we have 4 people? What the hell? Don't you people have better
Well,
things to
one
do?
of them is you, one of them is me.
No, it doesn't. Not one of them is me. I'm in the dashboard. It doesn't count. So it's you, Katie, and Pat. Okay, so that makes sense.
And Academy Impossible, welcome to the show.
Wait, who?
I see me, Katie, Pat, and another user named Academy Impossible, who is not actually spoken in chat, but they're one of the listed users. Maybe they're not here anymore, but
I'll take it as a compliment, regardless.
Thank you for
We'll take what we
watching
can
this
get, okay,
weird
guys?
shit that we do.
I mean, it's relevant having Pat here, considering like the absurd things we went to for sound in that movie. Like, I can't tell you how many weird desks and wine vats I hid behind holding a boom, and then we actually slept in Studio A for 3 days in McEwen Hall while we did
Good lord.
Foley and sound mixing for that movie, because Pat wanted to ADR everything. Even though we had crystal clean sound because I did it. But wait, no, I'm going to go ahead and backpedal. That had one of the best moments in my entire career of doing anything audio radio related, because we had to do the sound for zombie guts getting ripped open. And what they ended up doing was going and buying some tripe, you know, beef fat, beef tallow from a local butcher, putting it in a bucket, filling it up with, I think, just water and cornstarch, and slashing the shit out of it. And that worked so brilliantly. My big contribution was definitely chomping out of apple and pitching it way down, so when somebody got their skull bit.
There you go.
I was impressed. I was proud of myself. Pat says, I did not insist on ADR for anyone except James because he was incomprehensible. Oh, you're not wrong. He was very excited, and when he gets excited, he salivates, and yeah, most of his lines are pretty wet. I remember. That's Pat, is that still up on YouTube somewhere? Let me know. I think it is. Okay, so we've been at this for almost an hour, pending a few technical difficulties getting started on my end. You guys want to keep hanging out, or we have more to chat about? You want to do a game, or we want to call it a night, now that the world is...
I want to shout out just like a couple more voice actors before we go, because I
got nowhere to be.
And I'm not going to go into detail. I'm just going to list a bunch of names. But Richard Epcar, Clancy Brown, Ron Perlman. We talked about D. Bradley Baker already. Vanessa Marshall, who does Hera in Star Wars Rebels. The entire main cast of Steven Universe. So Estelle, Michaela Dietz, Zach Allison, and Dee Dee Manio. They're like we talk about like individuals a lot, but like ensemble casts that are just excellent really can bring a whole show together. And obviously we talked a lot about Batman the Animated Series, and that was an ensemble cast. Just everybody on that was a hit. But you look at like Steven Universe would be a completely different show if not for those four. And the fact that it's like mainly women of color is freaking awesome. And then finally, like the Adventure Time cast as well, especially Olivia Olson, who does just like a ton of shit, and she has an incredible voice, and bringing the musical stuff to that, and Phineas and Ferb, also another great ensemble cast that was together for like 5 or 6 years. Just if you want to see something truly heartbreaking, go hunt down the Comic-Con performances of Adventure Time when the show was ending, the series finale. They did concerts. Same thing, Rebecca Sugar did concerts for Steven Universe at Comic-Con, and they are incredible. If you just go track down Time Adventure on YouTube from the Comic-Con performance and watch John DiMaggio break down into tears because of how tight-knit that cast was.
Aw. That's nice.
Bryan, I feel like you really glanced over Billy West.
Well, I mean, Billy West was one of the first names I think I could recognize as a voice actor. Like, when I realized, like, oh, that's like a thing. It's not just like every other movie actor. Like, voice acting is its own clubhouse, right? And like that, it's got its own celebrity names in there, and you're never gonna know their faces until I learned who like Billy West was, and Carlos Alazraqui, and like everybody else who did Ren and Stimpy. Go figure. Which, as trivia, as I mentioned earlier, but I don't know if it was on the stream or not, all of the incidental music elements that were in the show tonight for Twilight Zone were pulled directly from the royalty-free, public domain Ren and Stimpy production library. So
it's great.
Every cliche French horn hit that came right from there. But yeah, Billy West. I mean, let's go ahead. Stimpy from Ren and Stimpy, Fry from Futurama. Help me here. There's so many others in between, and I'm gonna brain fart because now you asked me for it.
Disenchantment.
Yep.
He's also Zap Brannigan, isn't he?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And Zoidberg.
Yep. And Farnsworth.
He was Farnsworth too, right?
I'm pretty sure.
Jesus.
So half the cast of Futurama.
Pretty much.
Yeah, basically.
And then he's
Pat
done...
adds Doug and the bee that sells Honey Nut Cheerios.
Oh, that's right. He was Doug. That's one I always forget.
God, yeah,
that
you're
is
right.
the one he like seriously does not sound like himself. When every other one is like, oh, I could probably pick up Billy West in a lineup now. I mean, what else? SpongeBob, half of Nickelodeon stuff, bunch of Looney Tunes. Obviously, he does Daffy now, right?
Oh, really?
I didn't know that.
No, I think you're right.
I think he's done some Bugs as well, apparently.
And that is a thing to consider too. That like we didn't name like any of the voice actors who did like like the guy who did Bugs Bunny forever.
Mel Blanc.
All of those like classic voice actors that all the voice actors we grew up on fell in love with voice acting because of.
That's very true, but I'm not arguing anything. That's a little before our time, right? Like we were born into it.
Yeah.
I still feel like there's something special about some of the current voice actors that we all are very familiar with.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I think it's
also
two very
like
different things.
We didn't mention stuff like Phil Lamar and Carl Lumbly and another ensemble cast like the Justice League cast, George Newgarden, Maria Canals Barrera, Susan Eisenberg. Like Susan Eisenberg is incredible. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And then we didn't even do like Hank Azaria or like just these prolific voices who are everywhere.
I mean, I feel like if we wanted to do The Simpsons, that has to be its own thing.
Right. I put Phil Hartman on my list mostly for his contribution to The Simpsons before he died.
Oh yeah.
With Lionel Hutz and all the characters he did on there.
You may remember it from
Troy McClure.
Troy McClure. And I think he was
Maurice
supposed
LaMarche. Thank you,
to be-
Pat. Doris Grau.
I think he was supposed to be Zap Brannigan, but unfortunately died before that occurred.
And Maurice LaMarche is another one who's like, he is just in everything. It's not even like a joke anymore. He's literally, every voice acting credit show has his name in it for some reason. Oh, he showed up and barked like a dog once? That counts. But I mean, he was Egon on the Ghostbusters. He's obviously the Brain. He's also the most profound Hollywood burper, apparently. He can violently belch on command, and every time you heard Wacko belch in Animaniacs, that was Maurice, because Jess cannot do it. I learned. And yes, thank you, Pat. Doris Grau as well.
I'd also be remiss not mentioning any of the Critical Role people, because like Matt Mercer is like also like Nolan North, where like he is in everything. Laura Bailey is in everything. Like, you cannot escape these voices.
I mean, we've only been talking about this for like 45 minutes. We only can cover so much ground.
Right? Yeah, it's too many.
All right. So, I don't want to keep you guys too awful late. This is always fun, but I know, like, some of y'all have kids and shit, so, like, if you guys want to break off and call tonight, I'm going to go ahead and shut down the stream. So, for anybody watching, thanks for watching. If anybody wants to play a game with us, or, like, hang out, or Pat, or anybody sign up to join us on the next episode, we'd love to have you. There's links for the Discord in the description and anywhere that you could possibly be watching this. And, yeah, it'd be nice to get some fresh blood in here. No offense, anybody. I'd like to mix things up a little bit.
Hey.
We should continue the rolling dice thing and just make it even faster.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to kind of go. Like, if we have a full cast, obviously, let's give everybody a roll. But when it gets weird balance like that, yeah, I'm totally into the idea of mixing things up and like making people trade rolls on the fly. I think it'd be fun. Thanks, everybody. And I'm heading back to Discord if anybody wants to join me. And have a great weekend.
Bye, everybody.
Good night. Thanks.